So it's Valentine's Day. Mm. So it's either you're single, or you have a man, or maybe you're in some sort of, dare I say, the forbidden word, situationship. So if you got a man, I'm hoping that by the time you're listening to this, he has behaved well and he has done something lovely for you based on the expectations that he has set and created. If you're single, I'm hoping that you don't feel like a failure on this day. And if you're in a situationship, well, I hope that this is the last situationship that you're going to be in for the foreseeable because, girl, I thought we talked about this. Now, when it comes to Valentine's Day, there is a big hoo-ha that is made about this day. And I know that many people will argue that Valentine's Day is just capitalism. Okay? This is all about making people buy things they don't need to buy. And if you love someone and you truly have feelings for them, then you won't need to only wait for one day in the year to express that. Okay, I hear that, but the same thing could be said about Christmas, the same thing could be said about your birthday, the same thing could be said about Easter. I mean, if you catch the trail of where I'm going with this, my point I'm making here is that just because it's the day someone made up doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy the festivity of it all, especially when it comes to Valentine's Day, something that is largely geared towards women, right? A lot of the consumerism points towards women being the people that things are bought for, whether that's flowers, whether that's hampers, whether that's gifts, whether that's romantic trips and activities like the spa, etc. A lot of marketing is driven towards Valentine's Day because it is an opportunity to make money. And whilst I don't believe in spending pointless amounts of money, I do believe in spending men's money. And I also strongly believe that if there is a day dedicated to the lovers, then I believe my lover should be very dedicated to me on that day. Now, the fun thing about Valentine's Day, for those who are single, because really and truly, right, I believe that majority of my audience are women who are single, but there are a lot of women who are in relationships who enjoy the Slumflower Hour podcast. And shout out to you if that's you. But for the majority of this conversation, I will be prioritizing single women because I see that single women are the most affected by Valentine's Day in the sense that they feel left out or they feel this sense of pressure to be a part of something that represents this idea that they've been chosen or they've been selected. Now, with Valentine's Day and the idea that, yeah, it's an excuse to pay for things and capitalism, consumerism, that's its own beast of a conversation. And I don't disagree, right? What I believe in is the man who loves me will do what makes me happy. And maybe I should rephrase that because nobody ultimately can make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. But what I should say is the man who loves me will do things that will encourage my joy and hopefully create results that lead to my happiness. So, for the girlies who are single and feel like a failure because another Valentine's Day has come and their Instagram timeline is full of people posting their roses and their chocolates and their teddy bears and their Gucci handbags or whatever the boys are getting them these days. If by now you have not already realized, I hope you know now that a lot of this thing is packaging, okay? And packaging is a way to say that things aren't always what they seem, okay? I think that we have all arrived at a place in our awareness of social media and how the internet works that it's very common for people to exaggerate their relationships with their boyfriends, as in Valentine's Day is a time when we see a lot of this exaggeration of gestures of romance. We see the 50 flower bouquet type shit, you know, like the rose petals, but it's like 50 roses in a bouquet and you need two hands to carry the bouquet. We see that stuff on Instagram on Valentine's Day. We see the piled up boxes of designer shoes and handbags. Why I say that stuff is packaging is because, it's possible to buy empty boxes from authentic designer items on Vinted or eBay, and you can stack those boxes and take pictures. It's something that a lot of sex workers do, especially sex workers who market themselves as luxurious, high class sex workers, to give the impression that their clients are gifting them these luxury things, and the intention behind doing that is to manifest and encourage more clients to actually buy them the things that they're pretending that other clients bought them. And most times that stuff works. But if you are not marketing yourself to benefit from posting empty shoe boxes and empty handbag packaging, it's very awkward, girl, because I just think that it's really embarrassing to, one, get caught out, but two, it must be embarrassing to know that you are pretending to be loved. That's really sad. And I think that's what Valentine's Day has come to. I don't think that it's entirely an issue of like, oh, consumerism, because a lot of people are not buying things actually. Especially most of the men that you guys are dating, they're not buying you guys stuff. They're not. Most of these guys have become so spoiled and lazy that they're not even doing anything for you guys on Valentine's Day. They're telling you, oh, it's just a capitalist day, and you believe that. Because you went to go and choose your liberal, feminist, rolled up Carhartt beanie wearing ass boyfriend with the Essentials hoodie and the matching khaki Carhartt sweatpants, who tells you that feminism is when a woman is empowered enough to split the bills. And you believe that, you bought into that, and now you are surprised that Valentine's Day has come and you're empty-handed because your feminist boyfriend told you that it's capitalism for him to spend money on you. Oh, babe. So, you might be wondering at this point of the conversation, well, what should we do with Valentine's Day then? Because there is a mirage and a big charade of like smoke and mirrors being played when it comes to Valentine's Day, with the women who are in relationships with men pretending that they're getting more from those men than they're actually getting. And then there's the women who wish that someone would pick them and treat them well on Valentine's Day. And then there's the other conversation of like galentines, which is doing something for you and your girls. I love the idea of that. However, as someone that has recently turned 30, I'm tired a lot. I'm not gonna lie, my friends know what to expect from me. I'm very grateful for the friends I have. They know me well enough to know my pattern of movement. They know that if I'm not talking to them or if I'm not messaging them back, it's because I'm at home lying down. I'm just tired. I'm not even trying to do galentine. Sorry guys, you lot know I love you. You know how my friends know that I love them? Because when it's time for me to ride out and sit with them for like 4 hours, cussing out their boyfriend, I will do it. You ain't got to ask me twice. I will do that. And how my friends know I love them is because when it's time for me to show up for them, I absolutely will. You ain't got to ask me twice, girl. But galentines, I think I'm grateful, right? The kind of friends that I have are women who, it's either they're already in relationships and they've accepted their relationships for whatever their relationships are, or they don't really care about Valentine's Day either. Like, I feel like whilst Galentine's Day is a really beautiful concept, and I think that for women who are still in that mental space of really wanting to be picked by a man and really feel left out on Valentine's Day, Galentine's is a really cute transition into releasing the pressure that surrounds Valentine's Day. So if you don't already know what Galentine's Day is, I think the title kind of gives it away. But to be more specific, Galentine's Day is when you do things with your homegirls. So it could be like a cute day out. You start the day with maybe a matinee musical, and then you go afterwards to get some dinner, and then you do drinks later in the evening, and you spend that whole day just basking in each other's company and appreciating your presence in each other's lives, and maybe you might even get each other a gift. Now, The reason why Galantine doesn't really mean anything to me is because on a normal fucking ass Tuesday, I'm gonna get something for my friend anyway. Now, I'm not saying that I date my friends, but I want to say that I probably have done more for my friends than their boyfriends could. And that's not even in a sexual way. Don't go there. Let's see where your mind is going. No, what I mean is the emotional companionship and feeling understood is something that a lot of women are not even getting from their relationships with men, let alone Valentine's gift. So I've reached a stage in my life as a 30-year-old woman where Valentine's Day feels very neutral to me. And I think that for those who want to reach a place where they don't feel affected by Valentine's Day, you got to go a step beyond doing the Galentine's thing. Because I think that a lot of people overcompensate when it comes to Valentine's Day by doing this whole like, I'm going to have a self-love day. I'm going to run myself a bubble bath and put heart-shaped bath bombs in the bubble bath. And I'm going to light up candles. And I'm going to buy myself heart-shaped muffins and write myself 14 affirmations because Valentine's Day is the 14th of February. And I'm going to watch movies that are themed around self-love. And this is going to be a day of self-love. It just feels a bit forced and performative and overcompensating. I'm not trying to say that practicing any of these gestures of self-love is useless or wrong. What I'm trying to say is that when you're giving too much attention to Valentine's Day, you're still feeding into the idea that the day is important. I feel like Valentine's Day should only be important to you, and I say important with an asterisk next to it. We'll come back to that asterisk. Valentine's Day should only be important to you if you're in a relationship. That's my personal opinion. And the only reason why I say it should be important is because that's the day when that man better come through. Sorry, if I had a boyfriend, I don't care if Valentine's Day is consumerism. I want my gift. I want my stuff. What have you planned for me? Oh, I can't wait to see what you've planned for me for Valentine's Day. I'm going to start instilling that fear from 2 weeks beforehand. And best believe, I'm not falling for your trick of, you want to try and start a fight with me conveniently a few days before Valentine's Day so you won't buy me anything. Ha ha ha. That's not going to work because you know what? If I'm dating the kind of man who has the financial means in the first place, if he starts a fight with me a few days before Valentine's Day, I'm still getting my reparations regardless because he's going to have to pay to apologize. So either way, I'm getting my gift. If he decides that he's going to piss me off on the 12th of February and Valentine's Day is 2 days from that date and I have to recollect myself and gather my thoughts and not speak to him for a week plus, when a week plus comes and we now have reconvened and started speaking, he's coming with reparations. The forgiveness is not free. So either way, it's a win-win. If anything, he will still have to buy me belated Valentine gift on top of that. You guys think this is a joke. You guys think this is a joke. I'm telling you, yeah, if you are in your early 20s listening to this, you probably think that this perspective of mine is unrealistic and that's not how people are in the real world. You're just saying this because you're on a podcast. You're just saying this because it's the controversial thing to say and I know that it's going to get clicks. I wish you could see me in action, baby girl. I wish you could see how I get down. Now, if you are on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/theslumflower, where I share exclusive bonus episodes plus long-form written pieces as well as voice notes. I introduced this voice note thing like a year ago where, you know that friend who sends you 20-minute voice notes? It's me, I'm the friend. I'm sending you guys 20 minutes voice notes on the Patreon where I'm just like talking my shit about something that's happened. So, of course, if you are on the Patreon, you've already heard this story. But for the girls who are not on the Patreon, I'm only going to give them a brief summary of the story. But essentially, I met this and before I share the story, the reason I'm sharing the story is to give you a picture, an insight of what I'm capable of when it comes to cutting men off, when it comes to acting executively on how I feel and how I deserve to be treated. I'm not waiting around. I'm not wasting time anymore. Not that I ever had time to waste, but when I was in my earlier 20s, I had small time to waste, and boy, did I waste that time. Anyway, brief summary. If you want the full story, it's on my Patreon. Anyway, I met this Nigerian rapper. And I have to be so vague when describing him, because if I give details, you will be able to know who he is. Especially if you like Nigerian music, and if you're Nigerian and you understand how it works with certain musicians being big in certain parts of Nigeria. What I will tell you is that it's not Burna Boy, okay? Because some girls on the Patreon were trying to guess. Look, I don't even want to be affiliated with Burna Boy in that way. No hate to Burna Boy. I really like his music, but you're not catching me in that place unless it's really, really, really benefiting me. Anyway, it's not Burna Boy, but he has a song with Burna Boy. That's all I'm going to say. And the song is one of the biggest songs right now. But you can't guess because there's a lot of big songs with Burna Boy. Anyway, this particular rapper, I met him at the end of summer 2024, yeah? And how I met him is because I was out with my homegirl who is from Nigeria, but she visited London, and me and her went to a party, and me and this girl, we love to dance, innit? So she posted a video of me dancing on her stories, and then her rapper friend was like, "Who's your friend?" My friend was like, "Don't bother. She is very strict, and you're probably not going to get very far with her." He was like, "What? Say less. I like her. I want to chat to her." And so she messaged me. She's like, "Oh, my friend is interested in you." I was like, "Okay." She was like, "He's a rapper. His name is..." She said his name. I was like, "Okay." I didn't actually know who he was at the time until I looked at his page, and I was like, "Oh, he's that guy with that song. Yes, okay, I like his music. I got like a few songs of his in my playlist." So like, okay. But I don't do rappers. Especially Nigerian rappers. Sorry, Nigerian rappers have got a reputation. Okay, and they're not going to make an exception for you because you're pretty and because you're a nice person and because your mom told you that you got a good heart. That's not how none of this shit works. Anyway, she tells me about him. I'm like, okay. Now she tells me that he's asking for my number, and I'm like, well, if he wants my number, he can ask me directly. He knows where he can find my Instagram. He didn't message me on Instagram, but he's messaging my friend on WhatsApp to ask my friend to ask me for my number to give my friend to give him. And I'm like, sorry, is this a 15-year-old I'm talking to here? Why can't this grown adult man just contact me and ask you for my number? So I said no to my friend. I told her, no, tell him I said no, because if he wants my number, he can ask me directly. My friend comes back and says, oh, in Nigeria here, like, certain celebrities, they don't want to use their DMs to message people directly because multiple people might be logged into their account. They want to keep their business private. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I'm not interested in him. I don't know him. I don't give my number to people I don't know. Tell him I said no. So that was done. She comes back half an hour later. She's like, babe, I think it's been a misunderstanding. He wasn't trying to be rude or demanding by not asking you directly for your number. It's just that he's leaving the country tomorrow and he just really wants to meet you, and I'll come with you if you want. So when she said that she'll come with me to meet him, I was like, I'm only open to the possibility of coming with you, my homegirl, to go see this guy that's your friend because you'll be there, and fine, it'll be a 3-way hangout. So I said to her, well, tell him, because all this conversation with him is still happening via her, via WhatsApp. So she's basically some sort of like middleman carrier pigeon here. So she tells him, okay, Jadera's open to meeting you if 3 of us hang out together. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to ask you one more time. Please, will you give him the number? So I was like, fine, you can give him my number, but tell him I am only giving him this number because of you, my homegirl, who has told me good things about him, and because 3 of us are going to be hanging out tonight anyway. So I give the number. He calls me and he's like, Chidera, I can't believe you made me work for this number. And then we were kind of flirting, but like, it was not flirting as in like, oh yeah. It was kind of flirting where my style of flirting, I'm a Nigerian Sagittarius woman. So I'm quite mean. Not mean as in insulting you or disrespecting you unnecessarily, but I like to make men feel the steam under their collar of not knowing whether they're going to actually get their way with me. I like to make them feel like they've got to buckle up small. So we had that banter on the phone for a bit. And I said, okay, I'll agree to meet you. Fine. At this point, when we're talking on the phone, though, my friend had texted me saying that something else has come up, and another rapper friend of hers, who she originally was supposed to meet up with, but they hadn't confirmed, and now he's confirmed. So she has to go meet him because, to be fair, she'd already arranged plans with him first. So fine, now it's just me and this rapper dude who are going to conveniently meet alone. So I said to him, I'm only coming if you're sending me a car, though. He sent me Uber Lux, got to his lobby. He was nice. He's not my type visually. Thank God that he's not my type visually. I love it when a man is not my type visually, because it means I can just concentrate on getting what I want out of this interaction. I feel like, I'm sure you understand this as a girl, like when you're actually really attracted to a man physically, it's harder for you to focus on carrying yourself in the way you want to. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you got to be an advanced player to know how to separate your loins from the truth, to know how to separate the visuals from the reality. Thankfully, this guy is good looking to most people, though. Like, he fits the beauty standard, especially of Nigeria. But is he my type? No. I don't like men who look like that. And he wasn't ugly, but I'm not drawn to men who look like that. So I was hanging out with him for some hours and it was pleasant. Anyway, fast forward. If you want the main bulk of the story, it's on Patreon. But fast forward now, because we ain't got all day over here. Fast forward. We are saying our goodbyes from hanging out, and he tells me that he will contact me when he gets back to Nigeria the following day. So I'm like, okay. Because me, if you tell me you're going to contact me, I say, okay. If you contact me, that's good. If you don't contact me, okay. Best believe it's end of August that I met this guy. I did not hear from him again. Okay. And my thing is, I wasn't twiddling my thumbs waiting every day being like, will today be the day that he messages me? I've always had this perspective where no matter how good things are going in the moment, I am never attached to the possibility of what it could be with this guy. Meaning that men could tell you all sorts of things, babe. Like, men can tell you, tomorrow I'm going to message you. Men can tell you, I'm going to buy you a house. Men can tell you, I'm going to marry you. Men can tell you, I want you to be the mother of my children so I can take care of you for the rest of your life. They can tell you all that and still change up on you. Now what? So in that whole moment of me vibing well with him for those hours I spent with him, just me and him, I was always of the mindset that as good as this feels right now, as much as I'm enjoying myself, as much of a gentleman I'm observing him to be, like, I had no red flags that were notable enough for me to be like, oh my God, not seeing this guy again in my life. He's terrible. Like, he was pleasant. But in that whole period of hanging out with him, I was like, look, this is great, but this could be the last time I see him, and that's okay. A man wanting to see me again is not a reflection of my worth. Sometimes a man wanting to see you again is a reflection of how accessible he thinks you are to him. Which leads to where we're going to in this part of the story. So, I've not heard from him. I get to Nigeria, end of December, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to message this guy anyway. Now, you might be in shock to hear that I have messaged a man first after not having heard from him for like almost 4 months. Okay? But I thought, I don't care, because in Nigeria, if you're Nigerian and you've been to Nigeria and you've gone to Nigeria during party season, especially on the island, you understand Nigeria is everything about who you know when it comes to nightlife and enjoying yourself. It's not about you having just money or just being pretty. You need to be connected. And the people you need to be connected to are the people who have clubs, who have access to tables, who have access to VIP. Because unfortunately, it's just the way the cookie crumbles in Nigeria, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not. Nigeria is a very classist place. So if you are a celebrity or you are associated with a celebrity, you're getting the best experience out of your nightlife in Nigeria. So I thought, okay, well, look, I know this dude already. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear from me. So I messaged him. I was like, yo, I'm in Nigeria. And immediately he got back to me. I didn't think he was going to remember me. I'm not going to lie. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't think he was going to remember me because I'm not pretty and I'm not remarkable. It's just that a man who is able to essentially forget about you, because that's what happened, he forgot about me. A man who's able to forget about you can only do so because he has so many options and because those options are very available to him. So I didn't take it personally that he didn't contact me when he got back to Nigeria the following day after me and him had spent all those hours together. I just took it as, you know what? This isn't someone I'm trying to date. This is someone I'm trying to have in my network, honey. Okay? Because if I'm connected to someone like this and I'm trying to enjoy my nightlife in Nigeria, I'm having the best time. Okay? Everything is sorted. And for me, when it comes to partying in Nigeria, I'm only going to be partying with men who are ballers. I'm sorry, babe. Anyway, when I messaged him and he got back to me immediately in response to me telling him that I'm in Nigeria, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, okay, this guy actually remembers who I am, whatever. So then it ended up being that we tried to meet up here and there, but the timing just was off because it was during that period where he had a lot of bookings. Because when it's festive season, musicians have a lot of bookings. Like they got club appearances to make, and it's paid work. So I get it. So eventually, it ended up being that once party season quietened down, we started talking about the possibility of actually like giving it a shot to meet properly. And he suggested that we will go on a boat ride where we don't stop on any of the islands. We just have a boat cruise and just hang out. And I liked that idea. I told him I liked the idea, but I reiterated to him that I'm going to need 24 hours notice beforehand, at least 24 hours notice. I don't care that Nigeria is a city of spontaneity. Well, I don't care that Lagos is a city of spontaneity and, you know, you want to be quick on your feet because you never know what plans could come up. I don't care. If you're a man and you're trying to toast me and you want to sleep with me and we are in the early stages of getting to know each other, you're doing things according to my own boundaries. And my boundary is I need at least 24 hours notice. And when I expressed that boundary to him in a very polite and clear way, he gave me a bit of pushback in the sense that he was saying to me that, well, he's more of like a last minute kind of guy and he's more of a late night kind of guy. So I said to him, well, I guess we're not compatible then. And he kind of like laughed that off and was like, all right, fine. Like, I'll let you know what comes up. Let's see how it goes. We'll have to see. And I was like, okay. After we had that conversation, maybe a week later, he now says to me at 10:30 at night. And by the way, if you're getting bored of this story, don't worry. We're close to the end of the story now. It's pretty much the end now. 10:30 at night, he messages me, where are you? I said to him, I'm in Ikeja, half an hour from the island. Because basically, Ikeja is in the mainland part of Nigeria, which means it's on the actual part of Nigeria that makes up the country. And the island is it's an island, so it's like separated. So you got to cross this bridge over the water to get to the island where all the partying and stuff happens. So where I was staying at the time in Ikeja was half an hour from the island. But I was only telling him that it's half an hour from the island for him to understand where in Ikeja I am, because Ikeja is big. Anyway, when I said to him I'm in Ikeja half an hour from the island, he then said to me, oh, I thought you were on the island. I was going to invite you to movie and smoke. Chai. Which one is movie and smoke? Did we not discuss that you're going to take me on a boat ride? What's movie and smoke? And why are you inviting me to movie and smoke last minute at 10:30 p.m. at night when I told you that I prefer, if you're going to instigate plans to see me, I need at least 24 hours notice. You see how men push your buttons? Do you see how men ignore your boundaries to see if you're stupid enough and desperate enough and insecure enough to ignore your own boundaries and go and get your fucking goofy shoes on and go and see them at 10:30 at night? Because realistically speaking, if a man hits me up at 10:30 at night, to come see him, to smoke and watch a movie. We are old enough to know what that means. He wants to finger me and suck my breast in his house. Because you're hitting me up at 10:30 at night. Okay, let's say I'm goofy and I decide I'm going to come. It's going to take me at least an hour and a half to get ready. So by the time I leave the house, it's like, what, 12 a.m.? What the fuck do I look like entering a car and crossing Third Mainland Bridge at 12 a.m.? If you're from Nigeria and you know Lagos and the island, you know about Third Mainland Bridge. You got no business being a woman on your own in a car on Third Mainland Bridge at 12 a.m. The Third Mainland Bridge is a bridge that crosses through the lagoon. The Third Mainland Bridge, you are spending a good 10 minutes minimum on that bridge. It is a very long bridge. Probably the longest. Is it the longest bridge in Africa? I think it is. It's a very long bridge. And dangerous things can happen on that bridge. Yeah? I should enter that bridge at 12 a.m. to come and shine my eye, to come and spend time with you. By the time I get to him, it will be maybe like 12:45, 12:30 a.m. Even if he sends me a car, that's not the point. 12:30 a.m. with my face with makeup, because I'm not coming to you barefaced, am I? This will be my first time seeing this guy since I met him months ago. So obviously I'm going to want to be looking and feeling presentable enough. So I come to your house 12:30 a.m. to watch what? Because if I'm going to be in charge of the movie, we're watching Sophia in London. I want to watch Sophia. If you're Nigerian, then you know what Sophia is. Does this man think I'm stupid? So do you know what happened? When he said to me, "Oh, I thought you were on the island. I was gonna invite you to a movie and smoke." I said to him, well, we talked about this. You know that I like 24 hours notice before you invite me for any plans." And he was like, "Oh, but I'm a last minute kind of guy. You know, I'm a late night kind of guy. My day usually starts at night." I said to him, "Well, look, I'm a late night kind of person too, as long as I'm given 24 hours notice." And then he said to me, "Oh, why can't you just be a little bit spontaneous?" I said to him, "I don't think we need to remain in contact if you can't follow simple instructions." And you know what he said to me? He said, "Go and sleep." Yeah. You're telling me to go and sleep? Who are you talking to? Don't command me. You see how men have the nerve? He told me to go and sleep in response to me saying, "I don't think we need to remain in contact if you cannot follow simple instructions," because the simple instructions you were given was, if you want to see me, give me 24 hours notice. What's so hard about that? It wasn't hard for him. It's because he doesn't value the access he has to me. And you know what? Let me tell you where it's my fault. I don't want to use the word fault per se, but let me tell you where I contributed to the carnage here. When I hit him up when I got to Nigeria, now I should have not hit him up. If I could see with my spidey senses that this man is going to be an idiot, I would not have hit him up. But I'm not a mind reader and I don't know the future. And I don't feel like I lost out on anything from hitting him up because I didn't know he was going to be a dickhead. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, the reason I'm sharing this story in the context of Valentine's Day and having the bravery, self-confidence, and self-worth to execute men out of your life on sight is because you see this guy, yeah, he's a huge celebrity. I could have decided, yeah, after he told me to go and sleep, I could have been like, "Lol, you're so silly," like still continue the conversation. But like, that's his test to see if I'm going to take it lying down. That's his test to see if I have low enough self-worth to let a man talk to me like that and still be in contact with him. Because you know what, yeah, men are always testing you. That's why I need to be testing men back. And that's why I think Valentine's Day is a test. Yes. You see where he was testing me? He was testing me when he asked me where I am at 10:30 p.m. at night. The test was for him to see if I'll leave the house, because if I was to be receptive to that question and get my shoes and my Fenty on to go and see him, he now knows how to classify me. And he will classify me as a woman who is accessible with low self-worth. That's not who I am. I have got enough self-worth to know that if a man wants to spend time with me, he needs to make it worth my while and he needs to respect my boundaries. And also, a man who cannot even arrange a date 24 hours prior based on the kind and polite request of the woman he wants to see is not a man who will date you properly. So this is the kind of man who, if I was to have been dating him, which Valentine, there will not be any Valentine anything. He would give me the excuse of, oh, but you know I'm a last minute kind of guy. You know I'm busy. You know I'm a rapper. So why am I gonna have time for Valentine's Day? Sorry, oh God, sorry. So yeah, I'm very quick to cut men off. Guys, I don't think you understand. This is why I always say that a lot of the stuff that I share is for advanced players. But an advanced player is not a position that's intangible. You can get there, you just have to want to get there. I consider myself an advanced player because let a man try. I dare anyone to try me. Guys, I'm telling you, once you reach a stage where you can walk away from celebrities and talk to them like you're talking to a guy who is ugly and undesirable, who won't stop leaving you messages in your WhatsApp, you are unstoppable. You are invincible. I feel very invincible in the sense that at this stage in my life now, with the level of experience I've got with men, there's no man that can rock me off my center. Nope. Nope. I feel like ever since I told that rapper that I don't think we need to remain in contact if you can't follow simple instructions, ever since I said that to him and I blocked him afterwards, because yeah, by the way, did I mention that I blocked him? After he told me to go and sleep, I blocked him. Because, sorry, anybody who talks to me like that, I don't want to anticipate hearing from you again. Because, you know, some people might argue that, oh, and even me, maybe the version of who I was maybe a year ago might have been like, oh, don't block him. Let him come crawling back one day to message you so you can ignore him and he'll feel ignored. I don't even want him to have access because this is a phone number that he begged for. This is the same phone number that he was asking my friend for. And when I finally gave in and gave the phone number, this is the material that I'm now dealing with. Somebody is telling me to go and sleep. Sorry, I gave you my phone number for you to tell me to go and sleep. No, it was never that serious. So I implore you, if you are listening on this Valentine's Day and you're feeling dejected, you're feeling this sense of like, when will it be my turn? Babe, you are no different to those women who see people get married and they're like, oh, when will it be my turn? You know those women who go to weddings, yeah? And when it's time to catch the bouquet that the bride flings, you're doing triple somersault to catch that bouquet. If it means that bouquet will give you the luck of being married next year. Are you okay? Oh, please, it's a man. It's a man. If you are of the belief that you are deserving of great things, you should be of the belief that the type of man who will hold your attention is the type of man who will do things properly. Now, for me, the type of man who will hold my attention is the type of man who is spoiling me, giving me money, loving me with his time and care. I don't really need a man I can discuss emotions with. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm quite independent when it comes to emotions. I've got a dad who loves me. Okay. I've got women in my life who I can talk to about emotions. Like, I'm not going to lie. My dad, yeah, he knows all my tea. I've got the kind of relationship with my dad where, thank God, I can tell him stuff about men. I could tell him all the stuff and he'll be like, no, don't have it. He's trying to get into your head. Or he'll be like, no, I see why you felt that way. Yeah, he's doing XYZ. Or my dad tells me, my own Nigerian father has told me that I should not marry a Nigerian man. Because he knows what Nigerian men are like. So I'm saying all this to say, I'm not looking for a man. I'm not looking for companionship. I'm not looking for an emotional support animal in the form of a man and a penis. Like, I'm not looking for anything. However, I am open to a life with a man who does what I want him to do. And if you're not doing what I want you to do, there is no reason for me to keep you around. So when it comes to Valentine's Day, on a day like Valentine's Day today, I don't feel this sense of like, oh my God, it's another Valentine's Day and I'm single and I don't have anyone to do cute things with. I don't have anyone to take me shopping. I don't have anyone to. I don't know what the romantic things you guys are doing with these men are, but I don't have anyone to do any of the above. I'm just like, look, it's a normal last Friday and it's Valentine's Day. Shout out to all the lovers. Do your thing. But me, if I was partnered on Valentine's Day, you better make that shit feel like it's my birthday. I want gifts in the plural, not the singular. Yeah. And the gifts cannot just be gifts. Like, I like cash. This is why you need to date men who know what you like. But you need to also date men who can afford what you like. But you also need to date men who have the self-esteem to actually be the man who you will enjoy dating. Most men are not going to be that. So you need to prepare for a future where you might have more Valentine's Days where you are single. Single doesn't mean unloved. Because, like I said at the beginning of this podcast episode, there are women who are partnered with men who are pretending to be with a man who actually is the man that they want. Okay? So, I just think that most women are still seeing men as this, like, destination for acceptance and being loved and finally having someone that can just hold them. And I'll never forget this conversation I had with this lady. And bless her soul wherever she is. But this conversation always, like, it low-key kind of haunts me because I feel like I was watching a car crash in ultra slow motion, half speed, yeah? Where she was saying that she would rather be with a man who she can be emotionally close with than a man who is making six figures. First of all, six figures is not that much. Especially if the six figures that most people talk about is 100K. Guys, 100K salary is not that much because you get taxed a lot. So you might as well just be with someone who's got 50K salary at this point. Anyway, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is this woman essentially saying that she values emotion over tangible resources. And that really rocked my core. I'm not going to lie, because it's like, first of all, she was a really beautiful woman. And the context of our conversation was about considering having children because she works with young children. And so her perspective was that, yeah, she would rather be with a man who she can discuss her emotions with than to be with a man who's making six figures. And I was like, girl, you better than me. I don't understand what emotions you guys are discussing with men. You guys are the same people who will come and read your Bell Hooks and your Audre Lorde. Shout out to Bell Hooks and Audre Lorde, by the way. I'm not going to lie, I've not read either of those people's books, but I know that they are in the canon of feminist history and literature. And I have to give them their respect and their tens because they have contributed largely to the conversation and the empowerment of women. However, I don't give a fuck about how much Bell Hooks and Audre Lorde you've read. You guys are the same people who come and say, yeah, but you know that emotions are not a man's strong suit. You know that men can't talk about their emotions, and men are very introverted when it comes to discussing how they feel, and they prefer to lead with logic. So you guys already know that you're not getting the emotional fulfillment. You're not going to get the emotional fulfillment you want from men, but you're still saying that you would only want to be with a man who you can get emotional fulfillment from. So can you see how you guys are in denial? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to discredit the fact that you might have a boyfriend who you can discuss emotions with, but if that boyfriend can only fulfill you emotionally, but he ain't paying no bills, babe, do you know you have 30 minutes? Do you know you have 30 minutes? 30! Girl, that's not sustainable. You can get emotional fulfillment elsewhere and from your boyfriend. I'm sorry, guys. As the world moves in this scary, like, conservative direction where people are trying to, like, bully women into submission at the hands of men, now is the time to be demanding your reparations. Now is the time to make sure you're dating for money. And it doesn't mean that you're only robotically, mechanically dating a man who will give you £200 per week and you will give him one allocated kiss on the cheek every half an hour. And when you fuck him, you will require £1,500 per fuck. No, it's making sure this man is bringing tangible resources into your life. Sorry, babe, if you're not doing that, you're getting duped, scammed, and taken advantage of. I'm sorry to be the one to have to say it. I know that you probably hate hearing this from a black woman, because you guys who are not black, especially white women hearing this, a lot of you think you're better than black women. So you have this belief that if a black woman is experiencing a better outcome of dating men than you, like that's supposed to be some sort of L you're taking. It's not an L. I'm just saying that, like, look, if somebody who is amongst a group of people who are socially flung to the bottom of the hierarchy and we're getting what we want out of these men, then you, who is supposed to be the beauty standard, you're supposed to be the cherished cherub of the land, the white lady with blue eyes and blonde hair, you should not be fucking these men for free. I'm sorry, babe. Because there are many white women who I see it happening in these, like, especially the southern white women, like their mothers teach them to prioritize resources over love, because the man who pours his resources into you is the man who loves you. But the love that women are taught to seek is this stupid, oh, he wrote me a poem. He wrote me a poem about how amazing I am. Yes, that's lovely. But if this is a man who you're sucking and fucking, not only should he be writing you a poem, he should be writing you checks as well. What do you mean he wrote you a poem? That's good, as he should. I'm happy to know that he can express himself poetically, but he still needs to pay the bills, girl. Okay? So, you know what? I'm going to wrap this episode here, because I'm sure some of you hearing this are probably not happy to hear that I'm such a, what's the word? What would you not call me? Negative Nancy for Valentine's Day. Listen, I am an advocate for Valentine's Day, because that's a day to make some money, girl. What? That if you're a smart advanced player, your roster should be coming through for you today, right? You should be getting multiple cash deposits, multiple gifts. Play your cards wisely, girl, because best believe these guys are playing you. And on that note, happy Valentine's Day. Take care of yourself, and yes, I will catch you in the next episode.